Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Man, I cannot stand the media. I just want to see things the way that they are. I want things to be represented and presented the way that they are. But the problem is, in this media landscape, it's like swimming through the mud, It's not a smooth process. You have to work your way through, you have to work overtime, you have to try just to be able to get to the actual truth. Because everything the media does, everything the media presents is to distort. Not to accurately present, but to purposely distort. In yesterday's video, I was talking about how Donald Trump is the most misunderstood man in America. Well, it's like that by design, obviously. The media doesn't want to humanize Donald Trump. They don't want to show you these types of moments.
Yeah. You have wonderful parents, right? Yeah. So Halloween is special? Special?
Can I mess your hair up?
Okay. You say yes? Go ahead. With my hairspray. What's your name?
Name.
They don't want to show you Donald Trump as compassionate, as a family man, as caring, as charismatic, and connecting with people. They just want to show you the negative. They want to present him as an unhinged, crazy person. And then on the other side, on the opposite side, they completely distort reality when it comes to Democrats in the exact opposite manner. Joe Biden is Joe Biden. What? The guy is obviously a complete disaster, but the way they present him and his performance is as if he is the greatest thing to ever happen in human history. And that's of course what they're doing now. There is a widespread concerted effort between mainstream media and the Democrat establishment in Washington right now to counter Joe Biden's low approval ratings and to try to convince the American people that he's achieving, that his first term as president has been nothing but achievement and success. They're giving him rave ratings, the highest marks you could get in terms of his performance evaluation. And it brings us right back to the article that we read the other day. I think it was from the New York Times, the Are We the Baddies video that I made. These elitist leftists are completely out of touch with not only reality, but regular people's reality. This right here, what I'm going to present to you, this is liberal elitism. All right, folks, I don't need to go over the numbers. We'll kind of do it as we go through this video. We know the current state of the economy, obviously. We understand the reality, we understand the challenges, and people want change to make things better. Elitist Democrats in the media, well, they just don't understand. What's wrong with you? What are you, a chronic pessimist? Things are just peachy.
Well, everything Joe Biden, let me just say something about Joe Biden. According to what I'm observing, the economy is booming. Yeah. Inflation is down. The stock market is doing well. People are having an easier time putting bread on the table, etc. He doesn't seem to be getting the credit for that. Only 41% approval. Is it because they think he's old? Because I don't see anything else they can point to with him particularly.
Well, it's a question for Democrats.
But no, it's a question for you, really, because you said you would not vote
she's not
for
voting.
Biden.
No, I'm not.
No, but you said you would not vote for Biden.
One vote.
Every vote counts, and your vote counts, and I'm going to tell you again, but I know you don't want to hear it.
Why
is
your candidate not doing better with Democrats? That's who he needs to win.
Again, because they think he's old. That's why. Trump is old.
Listen,
but he's not. Listen, I am the same age as
Joe Biden is not doing poorly because I won't vote for Joe Biden. Let me just make that abundantly clear.
You have to, at one point,
you guys, can I just, it's chaos.
This far-left Democrat shill multi-millionaire has the audacity to claim that the economy is booming, inflation is down, the stock market is doing, quote, very well, and people are having an easier time putting bread on the table. The stock market is doing well, and you know what? I've fallen into this trap many times before. The stock market is actually not a great indicator as to how the economy is doing for your average person. During the Trump years, it was easy to point to the stock market highs as a sign of economic success, and to be honest, during those years, it kind of was, because the effect was trickling down. People across the board, from the lowest economic level to the middle class to the highest, everyone was succeeding. But now as we're regaining those stock market highs, it's no longer applicable, because the only people who are doing well are those with assets, the asset class, and people who are actually invested in the stock market. People who have earned good money over their lives, they've saved, and they have a strong security net. That's not everybody. And the people who are struggling right now are those who can't keep up living living paycheck to paycheck, those who can't handle grocery prices nearly doubling in 2 years. Gas prices the same thing, and of course rent and mortgage payments right in line. Those are obviously the people who matter. If you print trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars and mobilize it from the Federal Reserve to big banks to keep loaning that money, it's funny money, then obviously the stock market's gonna hit all-time highs. But you know what else is gonna happen? You're gonna have rich people with buying power. Let's say a 20-80 split. Anyone with $2 million in cash has essentially $10 million in buying power when it comes to finance from the bank, and that scales all the way up. You know, those people are gonna go on a frenzy, especially when interest rates were so low. They're gonna buy up everything. And what does that do? It increases demand. It makes everything more expensive. People own more homes, more vacation homes, bigger homes, more rental properties, investment properties. Those people are doing great, but then everybody else is left out, left to dry. Young people can't afford homes. It's not because of evil capitalism, it's because of crony, socialist, big government intervention. People are struggling in this type of an economy, and Joe Biden's made it exponentially worse with his policies. And talk about a slap in the face, then you have these multi-millionaire leftists with their cushy media gigs essentially telling you that you're ungrateful. That's what's currently going on with top Democrats across the media. Here's Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
With the investments in green energy and investment, infrastructure investment, and even reshoring manufacturing jobs, it's pretty clear that although we're making a lot of progress, the sort of hangover from the pandemic, which was obviously a century unprecedented situation, is still causing melancholy. And also, you know, the impact of those investments is going to take some time to bake in.
It's just a hangover from the pandemic causing melancholy. It's not Joe Biden's fault. No, you're just depressed and don't know how to be happy. You're ungrateful for all of his success. Joe Biden's struggling not because of his lack of actual results and policy performance, but because he's too modest and doesn't want to take credit.
But he's still tied with Biden in some polls. So what do you think needs to happen for Biden to break away?
Well, I do think the economy is going to be a huge asset. Biden has been maybe too reticent, too modest to take credit. But I mean, where we've come since the depths of the pandemic is an astounding recovery story. Astounding.
What an absolute lunatic, especially considering all Joe Biden does is take credit and blame everybody else for anything that goes bad. The amount of times he said Bidenomics in the last month is easily in the hundreds. He's essentially gone on a celebration tour while people are getting crushed by debt and about to go bankrupt and lose their home. You know, the DCCC obviously handed out the new talking points and all the Democrats got the memo. Here's Gretchen Whitmer. Joe Biden should spend a little bit more time touting his great success and victories that we've seen.
There's a lot more communication, I think, has to be done between now and next year's election without question.
And is that the burden of the president himself?
It's on all of us. It's on all of us. We all would benefit if we spent a little more time telling some of the great victories that we've seen over the last few years.
They're essentially saying that what he should do is boast. No, I think that's kind of the problem. Most people are feeling pain, and the last thing they want to hear are rich Democrat millionaires, especially someone like Joe, who made millions upon millions of dollars off of nothing but selling his office. The last thing people want is Joe Biden bragging while they're going under. This is out of touch liberal elitism, because when you turn on the TV, when you're listening to unbiased economic sources, or let's call it the counterforce, Fox Business, for instance, the reality is pretty dreary.
We cannot seem to get or budge off. We had a nice ride up on the participation rate, and now it's flatlined. We can't seem to get more people into the workforce. What the issue has been is older folks who have left the workforce and not come back.
Temp hiring has been slowing. It's down 3 months in a row. That's a very good leading indicator of where the economy is likely to go. Construction's still been positive, but that will not remain the case, especially with mortgage rates as high as they are. So the trend of weaker growth and recessionary crosswinds, they're still blowing.
Hours worked abysmal, down dramatically. So the work week was down month over month, year over year. So your weekly income, $1,157.28. That's up from $1,155.84. It's 0.00124. That's the improvement, 0.00124.
We want to bring you this breaking news. Fitch has downgraded the U.S. credit rating to a AA from a AAA. They note the difference in governance between AA-rated countries versus AAA-rated countries. Also, the continuous or the many political showdowns surrounding the debt limit.
Our new CBS News poll shows widespread pessimism about the economy. Roughly 2/3 describe it as bad. Most say the economy's struggling and uncertain. Personally, 70% of working Americans say those paychecks can't keep up with rising prices. Most say, at best, financially they're staying in place, but more than 1/3 say they're falling behind. Nearly half, 45%, think the Biden administration's actions are increasing inflation.
Wages are down, labor participation is struggling, financing is expensive, gas is expensive, everything's expensive, people are struggling. I mean, one more straw and we break the camel's back. People are so close to just not being able to sustain it anymore. Almost everybody outside of the select elitist few needs a glimmer of hope here. And you're supposed to sit there accepting these Democrat talking points that you're actually just ungrateful, depressed, and you should be thankful for Joe Biden's leadership. I've never heard anything so ridiculous. And obviously people aren't buying it. Biden's approval rating on the economy is still trash.
The timing of the poll is important as well. This is pulled through the month of July. This is also as there's been a slew of good reports on the economy that's been coming in. That must be a real head scratcher for the Biden team.
I think it is a real head scratcher, and it's just something we've seen. Even as the economy's gotten better, Joe Biden's overall approval rating and his approval rating on the economy really hasn't gotten much better.
And people still have more trust in Republicans on these issues.
In this poll, people are also asked who they trust more on the handling of major issues. This really sticks out.
Yeah, it does. You know, they ask congressional Republicans or the President of the United States. And we know congressional approval rating tends to be very, very low.
Yeah, like in the tank. I mean, like you can say it without even looking at the latest poll.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Mass murderers sometimes have greater approval ratings than Congress. But what we see here is that more people actually trust congressional Republicans than President Biden on the most important issues of the day. And this, to me, is a very worrying sign for the president going into the presidential election year, because the fact is, if he's doing this poorly against congressional Republicans, imagine how he might do against a presidential candidate from the Republican side.
In other words, as usual, these elitist Democrats are totally full of you-know-what. Anyways, that's the video. Just, adding context in this increasingly crazy and ridiculous world. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you on the next one.